Objects. They are everywhere, especially around your house. All they do is just sit there, gather dust, and sometimes they fly off the wall when a ghostly apparition decides it wants to take its revenge on you. But most importantly, they represent a little part of ourselves. They kind of scream at the world like, hey, look, I like these things. Do you like these things too? If so, let's bond over them. But for me, as an artist, these items, they go a step even further beyond than that. And I'm gonna show you exactly how by turning objects I find around my house into manga characters. First up on the list is my little trusty yellow sketchbook. I love this thing and I tend to write a lot of like my manga ideas, don't steal them, inside of it. And it's also really handy for when you're on the go and you just have that flash of inspiration for that perfect story that's going to dethrone One Piece one day. Right? It's not just me, right? Maybe it is just me. I apologize for that. I started drawing by doing a couple of rough silhouettes for this character because that's honestly what everybody teaches you to do when it comes to character design, but then I kind of took a step back and I realized I don't really draw like this, nor do I approach character design like this. I was just trying to impress you guys and maybe fit in with the popular kids like, you know, the Mark Brunets, the Adam Duffs, the Mark Grillies. But oh well, not all of us can be legends, some of us gotta remain common folk, and that's perfectly fine. So then I switched into drawing heads with faces and cool hair, which is honestly a classic when it comes to drawing anime stuff, isn't it? For me, this is kind of what inspires the character design. As long as I have this nailed down, usually I find that everything else kind of falls into place. Once I'm done drawing the three faces, I pick one of them and then I go and draw a simple body sketch. Now, keep in mind guys, this body doesn't really need to have a cool pose or anything. We're not really doing the gesture drawing of the character yet, we're more so using this as a mannequin, if you will, to lay down the design of the outfit. I decided to go for a long coat that kind of resembles the covers of the sketchbook, and also I decided to give her a big collar because I'm a pretty huge fan of those actually, and I thought to myself, wouldn't it be cool if inside that collar there were shapes that kind of resembled the pages of the sketchbook? I thought to myself, that sounds like a pretty good idea. I heard the voice of my dad saying, I'm proud of you son, and then I decided to go with it. After this, what I like to do usually is just sketch out 3 little thumbnails and lay down the basic composition for our character. While doing this, if I'm feeling particularly stuck, what I like to do is I like to go and borrow some inspiration from the eldritch entity known to man as Pinterest. But beware, gazing upon Pinterest for too long can have the opposite effects, and I think you know what I'm talking about. Browsing through Pinterest is not a game that you can win, and you often get lost in inspiration, never to finish a drawing, or even start one for that matter. After I pick which composition I would want to go for, the rest is usually pretty standard. I do the inks and then I finish by adding either some color or no color at all. Since I draw manga for a living, and holy fuck, I cannot believe I can say that out loud, it feels amazing, but yeah, since I draw manga for a living, I really adore black and white art, or black and white with minimum amounts of color, which is what I decided to go for in this video. Of course, the color I picked for this character will obviously be yellow. I genuinely don't think anybody thought otherwise. But first, when deciding on how I wanted to make this video, I kind of was leaning towards a more black and white manga style, but then I kind of thought to myself, we really need a little bit of color just so people can see the resemblance between the item and the character I'm about to draw. But after I'm done drawing the character itself, what I would usually do is just add some details. Like in this case, I would draw these floating books with twisted faces, do a really piss-poor attempt at a background, have a little bit of imposter syndrome session, and then call it a day. So item number 2 on this list is this blue candle that I've had for 3 or 4 years, and as you can see it hasn't been used much. When buying it, we thought it was gonna be a scented candle, I don't know, maybe some type of blueberry or artificial ocean smell, I don't know, something. Give me something, I'm paying for this candle. But no, in the end it actually turned out to just be a normal candle. nothing special about it. So we decided there is no reason to light this candle up because it's just gonna be a fire hazard around the house. And do you know what fire hazards do? Well, you know, besides killing people, right? Okay, sure, we all know that, but more importantly, nobody thinks about this. They destroy Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and they also destroy manga, and we can't have that now, can we? But as you can see with Candle Girl here, there is only one face instead of 3 this time. The reason being is, I really like this face because I was in the shower, I was shampooing my hair, I had soap in my eyes of course, I was screaming, I was crying in agony, as one does in the shower. And I remember seeing her face in my mind, and I thought, this is it. So I ran out of the shower and I immediately started drawing. I didn't even wash my ass. And no, I don't want this in the video. Unlike the previous design, I decided I wanted to go for something a lot more simple this time. Something basic and easy to understand. And I think the cool, neat little idea I had this time around was her 2 little candle wicks on the top of her head that when lit up on fire resemble twin tails. Once again, I asked myself, is this a cool idea? I remember chuckling while drawing it and I was like, that's really funny. And yeah, I decided to go with it once again. I also wanted to give her a cool expression, and I think drawing cool, silly faces is really fun, and I think it also matches her explosive personality. Then I went and started adding the colors, and I quickly realized the blue of this candle paired with the design itself is not really doing me any favors. I thought to myself, wait a minute, doesn't she kind of resemble that one girl, what was her name, Jenny? From My Life as a Teenage Robot. You know, the one from the Newgrounds video. You all watched that growing up, right? But then I thought to myself, oh well, it is what it is. We're too late in the drawing to fix this, so I'm gonna roll with it. And there you have it. Last on our list of items is this Chinese money plant, which we recently kind of got, and this thing is amazing because it's really low maintenance, so therefore I don't really have to feel guilty or worry about it dying because this thing is practically immortal. Maybe this was the Eldritch entity all along. It wasn't Pinterest, I was wrong, it was this. So for this character design, I kind of wanted to go and switch it up a bit, so I went for a boy, but not just like any boy. I kind of wanted to make it into a Chinese vampire since, well, it's based on a Chinese money plant. I've always really liked the Chinese vampire aesthetic, and looking back on it now, I've always enjoyed designs like Xianko from Darkstalkers or Li Pai Ram from Shaman King, and no, not you. Not you. You're kind of not on my list. Get out of here. Get out of here. This is not your video. But yeah, for those of you that didn't know, the most distinctive feature these Chinese vampires usually have is a paper talisman that dangles in front of their face. And I thought to myself, well, since this is based on a Chinese money tree, wouldn't it be funny if instead of a paper talisman, it was paper currency? Once again, the voices in my head were divided. Some of them, most of them, were screaming in agony over how bad of a choice this is, while others, only one in particular, was cheering with joy and laughter at how funny this was. So I decided that is good enough for me. Let's go with it. Now it was a bit trickier than I expected because I either had to draw Chinese currency, which is pretty difficult to draw, or go for something more easy and easily recognizable like a US dollar, but for some reason this felt extremely politically charged, and I don't know, it just felt weird slapping a US dollar on a Chinese vampire design. So I decided to go for something a bit more neutral, and I decided to just write out the word money. And look, before you type in a comment about how original I am, I know there's no need to. As for the rest of the character design, I decided to give him a cool leaf patterned attire, and then I gave him another popped collar. The difference being though is this time it was completely closed around him, and I thought it would look kind of cool as if it's the pot itself, and seeing how his hair is green and everything, it kind of resembles the plant coming out of the pot, and I don't know, I thought it was neat. I also decided the bottom of his pants to be folded upwards. I forgot what was the individual thing called for the for the pants, like the individual leg thing. What was it called? Pantene? I have no idea. But I decided to give him these big folds because I thought to myself, well, wouldn't it be cool if this guy is standing completely still, and it will kind of resemble the little plate that you would see at the bottom of a pot. And I don't know, maybe it's a bit of a stretch, but if anybody pays close attention and kind of figures it out, I feel like it would be a neat little surprise. But yeah, guys, that is pretty much it. Those are my 3 character designs. Now, tell me, which one is your favorite? Personally, I'm not gonna pick a favorite because, come on, this is ridiculous. A father cannot pick his favorite child, it's this one. But yeah, let me know in the comments below who you like the most. And yeah, I hope you learned something new, and I'll catch you all next time.